Hi, everyone. Today we are going to walk through how to use BambooHR. So the first thing I want to show you after you log in, you'll be brought to your home page. On the home page, you'll be able to request time off, see who's out for the day, and check out any celebrations that we have going on. So for celebrations, if you see the calendar with the star, that means it's somebody's anniversary. And then if you see a little cake with a candle, it means it's someone's birthday. But don't worry, we don't say how old anybody is. So underneath that, you will see our company links. Under the company links, the first part that you see here has our SDS sheets, which are our safety data sheets. We've decided to go digital with our safety data sheets rather than having them in paper so that we are able to conserve a lot of paper and their access to any employee who wants to know what chemicals we're using, what materials we're using, what the safety precautions are for those, and what are the components that make up that material. So those are here. And if you can see that we have web browser options and iPhone options and an Android option. All you have to do is log into BambooHR through a browser, and you'll be able to click on any of those links based on what type of device that you are using. Beneath that, we have employee suggestions, and below that is Good News Network. Who doesn't need some good news every day? So if you're kind of in the doldrums, or you're just like, oh, I'm so tired of the regular news, you need some pick-me-ups, come in here and check out the Good News Network. Under that, we have some educational links. We have Google Learning and Microsoft Office Training Center. So those are great to learn how to use Word or Excel or Google Docs and Sheets. And then under that are some field-related training things such as poison ivy prevention, tick control. We have links to different magazines and different schools that we use for training as well with all of our employees. And then just below that, we have the Employee Assistance Program. This is where you can look up COVID information. You can find access to New Hampshire 211. If you aren't aware what 211 is, at any time on your cell phone, if you dial 211 and hit send, you'll be brought to a New Hampshire help hotline. So if you're having issues paying your bills, if you've got things going on that you just don't know how to handle, if you're having housing situations, you can call 211 and they'll be able to help you through those things. We have a link to the Department of Health and Human Services, the New Hampshire Housing Authority. We also have links for domestic violence assistance, as well as substance abuse and mental health information. We have a suicide prevention line there, as well as New Hampshire Alcoholics Anonymous and New Hampshire Employment Security. When we scroll back to the top, you're going to see on the center or right-hand side of the screen that if you're a new employee, you're going to have a welcome there for yourself. And below that are some announcements. Once you get in the company, these will start filling up when we send out announcements to all of our employees. So to request time off, there are two ways you can do it. You can do it through the web browser here by selecting Request Time Off, or you can download the app on your phone and do it from there. Both are very easy to use. They're both very user-friendly, but I am going to go over a couple things on what type of time off and how to put that in. So it's not going to let me do it. I'm going to pause. Oh, so good. Okay, I just had to take a moment to switch over to my account so that you could see how to request time off, because I can't do it in the user previewing screen. So to request time off, you're going to click Request Time Off, which is the big green button. And there are several types of time off, and I'll go over the ones that are pertinent to what you'll be using. So first, you want to select the dates that you want off. So I'm going to select that I want the week of July 4th off. So I'm going to put the 5th through July 9th. And I'm going to take this as unpaid because as a new employee, I really don't actually have paid time to use. So we're going to make that unpaid. And you'll notice that it automatically populates on the days that are not holidays, as you're going to take a whole day, a whole day, a whole day, a whole day. So let's say though on Tuesday that you want to come in for half the day just to get caught up stuff through the weekend and then take the rest of the week off. Let's say you want to come in at noon. So we're going to put that it's 0.5 to take a half a day. And then in our notes, we're going to make notation that on Tuesday in until noon, then out for rest of the week. During COVID, we also have to make notation on whether or not we're traveling internationally or going to be on a cruise ship. As of the day that I am making this video, United States travel is okay. We just can't travel outside of the country without quarantining when we come back. So I'm just going to make a notation, not leaving the US. And then I'm going to send my request. I'm not actually going to send it because then everyone's going to get an email that I'm looking for this week off and they're going to get really confused. So the next step to this would be, let's say that you just needed a day, like a few hours off for a dentist appointment. So I'm going to come back to, let's say, May 13th. And I'm going to change this to May 13th as well. And I'm going to change it to appointment. And what you're going to notice, it went from days to hours. So I don't need 8 hours for my dentist appointment. I probably need about 2. And the reason I need about 2 is so that I have time to leave the job, get back to my car, if my car isn't with me, get to my dentist, have all the work done, and then get back to the job site. So I'm going to put here, have dentist appointment in Meredith at 10 a.m. The reason I'm going to put where the location is in case I get booked out into Wolfboro for that day, the scheduler is going to know, all right, this appointment's in Meredith, so they're going to need to leave around 9:30 or so in the morning. If the appointment was in Concord, then obviously I would want to leave much earlier than that. So they're going to say, okay, they're probably going to leave by 8:45 at the latest to get to their appointment on time. And then we know that it's going to be about 2 hours from that time before I return to the job. And then I'm going to click send request. Please make sure when you set up your appointments that you do adjust the number of hours that you actually need. Because if you put in 8 hours, we're going to give you the whole day off, even though you may only need an hour or 2. The next type of time off that you can take is an anniversary day, and that's if you're here full time for at least 1 year. You'll start accumulating anniversary days. And then the other one is a banked holiday. If you work for the week of July 4th and you put in 40 hours from that Tuesday to Friday, you can call me and say, hey, Ange, I'd really like to bank my holiday for Monday. And what I'll do is I will put it in BambooHR as a banked holiday, and you'll have this paid day that you can use within 1 year of that holiday. So please keep that in mind as we move forward and you start to accumulate holidays if you are a full-time employee. And that is how we request time off. Eventually, you're going to have paid time off. So I'm just going to switch back to Kung Fu Panda here, so that you can see what your screens will look like when you log in and not mine, because I see a lot more than you guys do. Okay, hopefully you can still see this. I will eventually go back and review this, and if you can't, well, I'll start recording again. But okay, so here's Kung Fu Panda. So we've gotten off the Home tab, and now we've clicked the My Info tab. Under My Info is all your personal information. So it's got your name and your preferred name. If your name is Kung Fu and you want to be called Kung Fu, you do not need to put a preferred name in here. This is just for people who have shortened names or prefer a different nickname than what their actual given name is. Your birth date, your social security number, which is always X'd out unless you click show and then you can see it. Your gender, marital status, your physical address, and then any pertinent information below there. We have your cell phone number and your email address. One thing I do want to point out about the addresses, if you have a PO box, your PO box would go in this general address area, and then your physical address would go into the physical address line. We do need a physical address. It is the law that we have that available. Sometimes the Department of Health and Human Services or Social Security Administration asks us for your most current address, and we have to have that on file. So please make sure if you have a PO box that you put in your physical address as well. If you have to move, you very simply can come in here, change your address, and I will get a notification that you changed your address, and then I can go into our payroll system and everywhere else your address exists and update it. Next is your job tab. On your job tab, you're going to see your hire date. And if you have any direct reports, they will be here. Your effective date, which is your hire date, and your employment status. So right now, Kung Fu Panda is part-time. Kung Fu Panda makes $12 an hour. It's hourly. And they also have a storm rate. So if you stay on in the winter, our starting pay in the winter is $20 an hour at the time that this video was made. And so you'll see that rate here. You have some job information. So we see that you work in the recurring department or wherever it may be that you work. Kung Fu Panda is a crew leader at the time of hire. That tells me this person probably had some experience in management, or they have some good management experience in the landscape industry. If we give you any assets such as clothing, phones, things of that nature, we're going to document that here. And then under equal employment opportunity, you can put in your ethnicity. You don't have to, or if you were a veteran, you could put in your veteran status. The next tab is your emergency tab. If you have not done so already, it's really important that you go in and update your emergency contact information. And the reason we ask for that is if something were to happen on the job and you are not conscious to call a loved one, we would be able to do that for you. If that information is not here, then we don't have that ability, and we'll have to leave it up to emergency personnel to somehow find out who you are and get that information to your loved ones, which could take a really long time. Then we have our time off tab, which is something that I just went over. As you accumulate paid time off, it will show up here by the number of days that you have left. Upcoming time off will show any appointments, any time off that you have coming up. And then under history, you can click down here and find out what time you've used. So if you have used unpaid time, you can click unpaid time, search this year or even previous years to find out what you've used for time. Conferences are something that I would put in if you are being sent to a training by us or you have an online training for us. We will put that in here for you. About once a month, most employees will have what is called a PAR, and that PAR is a personal assessment review. What you would do is come into BambooHR and you would add a PAR. And you can only do this through a browser, so you do have to log in through a browser to fill this out. You'd put the date that you're filling out the form, and you would put in at least 3 successes that you've had within the last month, any challenges that you may have had in the last month, and then action items that you feel that you should be taking to correct those challenges. And then your manager will sit with you and go over some of your challenges and successes, and they will also make notes or put in action items for even themselves. Next is our performance tab. If you're a full-time employee, we do performance assessments twice a year, once in July and once in January. What you will do is come into the performance tab and you will click assessment, and then you will click the correct assessment period. So your assessment would be after this date. So you're not going to see everything that I want to show you, but I will explain how our assessments work. There are 2 sides to the assessment. There is the employee side and there is the manager side. On the employee side, you will be asked a list of questions. We do no rating, so it's not a 0 to 5 or 0 to 10. We ask that you put in really thoughtful responses to the questions that we have in there. The assessment should take you anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes to complete. If you do it thoroughly, it could be up to 30 minutes. Your manager will not be able to see what you wrote until they do their own assessment on you, and vice versa. If your manager happens to put their assessment information in first for you, you will not be able to see that until you've completed your side. So neither side can see the assessment unless they're both done. This keeps the assessment really objective on both sides. So the manager can't feed off of what you're saying, and you can't feed off of what the manager is saying. So it's really effective way to do the assessment. You'll get reminders through BambooHR on a regular basis when we're coming up to that time period. So no worries about trying to remember what dates you have to go in and do it. And those are basically all the tabs that you need to be concerned with when you first start. The next thing I'm going to show you briefly is our files folder. If you click on files, you're going to have access to a lot of information throughout the company. So we have our field guides here. You can learn a lot about our field guides. So you can learn about our lighting, our site works, softscapes, lawn and plant healthcare, as well as plant identification. One of the most important tabs in here is actually our policies tab. On our policies tab, this is where you're going to find all of our updated policies. So through your orientation process, we're going to review these policies. But this is a place that you can go to read them in their entirety, and it is your responsibility to actually do that. And we will ask that you sign off that you have read all of the policies and that you've received an actual copy. And this is your actual copy. It's here in BambooHR. It's available to you at any time if you should have questions, or you can reach out to me if you have questions on the policies as well. And that is our basic overview of BambooHR. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you very much and have a great day.